Since the 4th of July came and went, I figured it'd be interesting to look at US-Canadian relations. After all, Canada is one of the US's biggest and oldest trading partners. Plus, the US is Canada's only neighbor. In the beginning, when the Treaty of Paris was signed, and the US officially gained its independence from Britain, many monarchists decided to go to the land that is now Canada. However, in 1812, another war broke out, aptly named the War of 1812. The War of 1812 was fought between the US and the UK. However, Canadians living in the area decided to fight back, pushing the Americans back to Washington, D.C. and burning down the White House, a fact that is still gleefully taught in schools today. The War of 1812 definitively showed that Canada was not going to be a part of the United States. They are their own separate identity, independent of the United Kingdom or the United States themselves. Fast forward just about a century to before World War I. The US and Canada just negotiated a Reciprocity Treaty, lowering trade barriers. Most Canadians were not too thrilled at having American goods being shipped in at the expense of local crafts. This less than cordial reception will be popping up again, so make note of that. Although the US and Canada were allies during the First World War, Canadian participation in the war was not of its own volition. Since it was part of the Dominion of the British Empire, Canada had no choice but to participate. In 1931, Canada became ostensibly independent of the Empire, and in World War II, both nations worked together very well. During the Cold War, Canadian-American relations began to sour. Although Canada did help in the Korean War during the 1950s, the Vietnam War all but solidified the anti-American sentiment that was growing in Canada at the time. Although Canada did send diplomatic support, the lack of military support led to frosty relations between the two countries. There's been a constant theme of anti-Americanism in Canada going back to the Revolutionary War, with America's constant influence being felt, and the fact that Canada was feeling more nationalistic during the Cold War led to some pretty tense times between the two neighbors. In the post-Cold War world, Canada and the US have had their ups and downs. Although NAFTA was signed in 1994 and made trading much easier throughout the continent, Canada and the US's relationship is still rather frosty. Despite the many ups and downs, Canada's relationship with the US has been an enduring one, with a history unlike any other. And although we haven't got along in the past, sometimes, the US is still Canada's biggest ally.